no one to know, nothing to prove. It's a strange sort of existence, somehow it seems so true. The only thing I really know is that I don't know a thing. The only sound that I hear now is the silence when I sing. The only sight my eyes can see is the darkness of my dreams. This is how I'm born to be empty. I know nothing is wrong, nothing is right. All is in all right now. Everything's gone, ambition and fight, no expectations at all. It's a new kind of intention, but somehow it seems so right. The only thing I really know is that I don't know a thing. The only sound that I hear now is the silence when I sing. The only sight my eyes can see is the darkness of my dreams. This is how I'm born to be. I'd be perfectly fine if I stayed this way forever. Nothing on my mind, and I've never felt better. The only thing I really know is that I don't know a thing. The only sound that I hear now is the silence when I sing. The only sight my eyes can see is the darkness of my dreams. This is how I'm born to be. This is how I'm born to be. Empty.
are serving a sacred
sacred land. I know that it's true when all that I am comes down to you. I know that it's true. I know that I can rely on you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give My soul remembers your voice when all I hear is frustration and doubt. My soul remembers your grace when the hurt is searing as a desert. Still I never go without. My soul remembers. My soul remembers your touch when my body yearns to be cradled like a child. My soul remembers your strength when a heavy burden's weighing on me. I am sheltered all the while, sheltered all the while.
Okay, so let's start. Welcome to Unity, where love is felt, truth is taught, lives are transformed, and all is well as we express the Christ within.
We'll do it the old-fashioned way if we can get this one working. Yeah. I am? I'm on? Okay. Well, folks, it's such a beautiful day that I thought for our opening song, we could do a song from the old hymn book, page 305, For the Beauty of the Earth. That's a good one, right? I don't know about you, but I love these fallish days, these days that feel like fall. You can stand up if you want. For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the beauty of each hour, for the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human love, brother, sister, parent, child, love we praise all things
Good morning, Unity of Gainesville.
Morning.
May this service bless each of you on your spiritual path. Those of you that are here in person, those of you joining us on Zoom or Facebook, and all of those who are with us in spirit. My name is Celeste Kroll, and I'll be guiding us through this sacred service this morning. We are blessed with a very special speaker today. His name is Greg Barrette. I'll tell you a little more about him in a moment. And we also have one of our favorite musicians, Kathy DeWitt, here this morning. And our prayer chaplain in the back is Dee Mitchell. And now, if we could please have our opening prayer.
As we gather our energy together, we just become aware of where we are in consciousness, just right where we are, no judgments. And we move into the space of prayer. We are aligned with the presence of God within. We are guided and protected by God's love, wisdom, knowledge, and grace. The God consciousness within helps us discover more about who we are. Thank you, God, for the gift of spiritual intuition and for aligning us. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Thank you, God. Amen.
First, I want to ask, do we have any first-time visitors to our church this morning? If we do, could you please raise your hand so we may know? Thank you. We have two. Thank you so much for coming. Our prayer chaplain is going to give you a little bit of information about our church. So I have a few announcements. One, I wanted to tell you about our speaker. Our speaker is Greg Barrette. He's been a Unity minister for 43 years, lots of experience. He's also been the president of 4 Unity regions. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is he is a writer for the Daily Word. He every month there's something that he's written that's in the Daily Word. He also teaches online for the Center of Enlightenment in Tarpon Springs. It's an online classes, and if you're interested, you could go to the centerforenlightenment.com and find out about those classes. Other announcements, the bookstore is offering 20% off on their books. So you might want to browse through and see what's available. They have some great books there. Also starting this Tuesday at 10:30 at Unity is a new class that's being offered. And the class is called Home for the Holidays, Home in Higher Awareness. It's a 6-week class. Starts this Tuesday. Flyers will be outside the door. Also, they're on our website. Let's see. And also, there's a computer class that is offered by Gabe Coleman. And make sure you look at our website, which is unitygainesville.org, for additional information. Our prayer chaplain today is Dee Mitchell in the back, but prayer is an essential Unity practice. You're invited to stay after the service to pray with our prayer chaplain in the room to the left. Access is through the gathering room. And Gabe, our board president, Gabe Coleman, has an announcement to make, and then he's going to read the daily word for us today.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So we come with some sad news that Carla, our spiritual leader's husband, Jim, passed last week. And Carla has also made it clear that she, right now, for the time being, will be stepping down as our spiritual leader. However, she will continue to lead classes and give talks on Sunday once or twice a month. Okay, for the daily word. Abundance in the world flows through me. I am securely in the flow of prosperity when I receive graciously and gratefully and share my abundance generously. Whatever I share with a loving, giving heart blesses me as much as it blesses the one who receives it. Each time I share of my supply, I am demonstrating my trust that I will always have what I need. When I share of myself, I am living my faith that I am divine, being empowered with my limitless supply of divine ideas. The richness of abundant universe flows through me. Knowing this, I don't hesitate to be generous to others. I won't hesitate to be generous so others will know the abundance of the world as I know it. Through my giving, may they also know the blessing of the awesome power and grace of God as they bless me daily. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed on us by God. 1 Corinthians 2:12.
So this is one of the songs that I put music to, James Dillett Freeman's words to. And it's one of my favorite ones. And I sent this, when I made this album of songs of James Dillett Freeman's, I used people from all over the country to play on it with me. And this was even before Zoom, but we were already doing things where you could record with people in another part of the country. You know, they would send your files, you would talk on the phone, you would go back and forth. So it was always very interesting to see what people came up with. And I just sent this piano demo, and my friend in California, Peter Sprague, came up with this beautiful guitar part. Actually played 2 guitars. That's another thing you can do when you record. Play 2 guitars at the same time. So this is Peter playing, and it's called God is Truth. I asked God, what is faith? And God replied, dear child, know I am walking by your side. I asked God, what is prayer? And God said, pray. As to the prayers you say, let your heart show the way. I asked God, what is God? And God was still. But in my soul I felt myself begin to melt. Beyond all words and thought, Myself became one with the truth I sought. My heart, God's heart, my mind, God's mind, my will, God's will. God did not have to speak. God is the truth we find, whether or not we seek. Ooh. Listen, just listen. Listen and look around and inside.
Thank you, Kathy. I love the way you express directly from the heart, and the music is direct. It's just direct. And I love the lyrics, of course. You do too, James Stillett Freeman. We both share that love for Freeman, whom I knew for many, many years. So here we are, we're a spiritual community, and I know you're going through some changes, and there's some shocks in your system, and taking a look at yourselves, you're observing yourself, and Kathy's song said, listen and look, and that's what the theme is today. Listen and look. It's the observer self in you. I'm standing over here, by the way, because last time I stood there and it fed back. So they said, don't stand over there, so I'm standing over here. And I can grab onto the railing too. So, but we're listening, we're looking in ourselves, and we're observing ourselves. Your observer self. You know, we use a term in spirituality, we call it the Christ within, the God within. But do you ever wonder, well, where is it and what is it? I mean, how do you experience it? You experience this through the observer self. That which observes gradually expands and expands your awareness until you totally experience the all that you are. And the all that you are is the Christ consciousness in you. Your observer self is your Christ awareness. That's how we develop it. It isn't like some magic thing or somebody's going to walk up to you and go zap. If that was the case, we wouldn't grow and we wouldn't own it and it wouldn't be a part of us. It would just be this passive thing. But we gradually expand our consciousness in greater and greater awareness through the observer self. But the first thing we do with the observer self is we observe what's going on. And guess what we find out? When I first learned about the observer self and I began to observe myself, observing my thoughts, my feelings, my moods, my attitudes, I began to notice something very strange. I was boring. I was so dull. I'd have the same habitual patterns of thinking over and over and over again. Or if I had a problem, I'd go over on this side of it, then I'd go over on that side of it, and I would solve it over here, and then when I think I had an answer, I would figure it out over this way, and I would drive myself nuts. I would be a squirrel in a cage, going around and around and around until what? Until I got tired of it. And I decided, I think there's another way of being, another way of existing, another way of living, another way of observing myself so that I'm not being in this habitual thinking, this habitual attitude of compulsively stuck in feelings and thought. So the observer self, there's an image I want you to entertain, and that is that your consciousness is like an iceberg. Imagine an iceberg 1/10 above the water and 9/10 below. Above the water is your conscious mind. That is where you begin the process of observing. And you observe and see what's going on. And what is it you observe? The 9/10 subconscious that is beneath the surface of your awareness, which then little chunks of ice come up. Because the process of growth into full conscious awareness, into the ocean of superconsciousness that surrounds the iceberg of your individual personality, your ego, that is a process that requires the dismantling, the release of all the chunks of ice under the surface. Stay with me with this image. Imagine that iceberg and realize that what you're aware of right now is your 1/10 conscious. Now in Unity, we try to tell people to be positive and to think clearly and to do this and to say your affirmations, and that's great, but that only handles the 1/10 above the water. The 9/10 below the water is something that we've got to manage over a process of time with patience, with self-love, with self-care, understanding that it ain't going to happen all at once. We are eternal beings. We have evolved. You have evolved. You are a soul in evolution, and you've evolved over space and time through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You've built up many experiences. You've built up this iceberg underneath the surface. Yes, all these different chunks of ice come from parts of you that you can't even remember. And they're there to be healed and integrated into your beingness. And here's the interesting part of it. As a soul in evolution, you made a decision before you came into this lifetime. There you were, and you were scoping out with some help, because you have help. There are people and beings who help you. You're scoping out your next lifetime, and you're going, I wonder what I'm going to do with this one. You know, I tried it as a priest, and I was very disillusioned because it didn't turn out quite what I thought it would be. So I decided in the next life I was going to be a courtesan, and I was going to have some fun. And that didn't work out too well either. I wasn't satisfied with that. So I decided I'm going to be a materialist. I'll be a business person to become rich, really rich, but there never was enough, and I wasn't satisfied with that. So in my next lifetime, I decided that I just was going to have a good time and just party and have a wild time, and wound up in the gutter, and the Salvation Army found me, and I ended up playing a tuba. And these lifetimes, we try different strategies. I'd be the chief. I'd be the follower. I would be in my intellect. No, the next one I'm going to be very emotional. And we try these things, and each time we add a little more to the iceberg underneath the surface. You think, that sounds very intimidating. Wow, I got a big iceberg in there. What am I going to do about it? Well, before you came into this lifetime, you observed all of that. You took stock of all of that. There's a lot to all that. My daughter told me when she was, 5 years old, that she could remember that process before she came into this life. And she even told me why she decided she wanted to be a girl. There were two reasons. One of them, the girls have more friends. I forget the other reason. But this is part of your process. You made some decisions what you were going to come in. And in this lifetime, that long story was to tell you that in this lifetime, the thing that you ended up with was a decision that you were going to go inward and evolve and grow. It's called soul involution. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, said that we are souls in evolution, growing and learning and adding until we reach a certain point where we go inward, and it's called soul involution. And that involution is going inside and dismantling all that is covering up, all that is preventing us from experiencing ourselves as the ocean of God's bliss, of the superconscious awareness, the Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. If you were born in Sri Lanka, you'd call it the Buddha nature. If you were born in northern India, you'd call it Atman. If you were born in Pakistan, you'd call it something that I can't pronounce. But you call it different things. And if you're in psychology, maybe it's your higher self or your actualized potential. I don't know what you want to call it, but that is where you're headed. And Fillmore said that that's the purpose of life, is to get you to the point where you finally say, is that all there is? I think I'm going to go inward. And you, and I can tell you this with a certain degree of certainty, you made the decision before you came into this lifetime that you were going to go within and do some spiritual unfoldment and get rid of this iceberg. Begin the process of releasing and chemicalizing, if you've ever read Emily Cady, all the subconscious stuff that you've been stuck with in your subconscious mind, and you bring it to the surface and it melts into that cosmic consciousness of the ocean of God. How's that image landing with you right now? So you decided that, and the reason why I can say that with the degree of certainty is because you're here. Otherwise, what would you be doing? You might be watching NASCAR, or I don't know. What could you be doing this morning? I think there's a football game on TV. It's being played in London. You could be watching that. There's all kinds of things you could be doing. But the fact that you're here, that you're part of this spiritual community, which is here to support you, and with our love for Carla Palmer and our love for her process and all that she supported us, and the spiritual community that she supported is greater than the sum of its parts. We come together in order to heal and to melt our icebergs together. And do you know something that happens, though, with that iceberg? I got to tell you, and it's not pleasant. You're floating around, minding your own business in your iceberg, and over there's another iceberg, and it's floating along. And you think you've got a little distance there, but for some reason, because underneath the surface it's 9/10, you hear this noise, crunch, and there's this disruption, and these ice chunks start going to the surface, and that's called relationships. And that's why we come together in spiritual community. Oh, yes, to support each other, and oh, yes, to have our chaplain pray with us, and oh, yes, to go to classes, and oh, yes, to have these wonderful experiences of spiritual community, and also to push each other's buttons. Because it's part of the design. The design of the spiritual iceberg is to allow ourselves to crunch each other's ice chunks and to help us to release. I remember I was working in a church once, and I had somebody who was in a supervisory position, and I'll be darned, he had a big ego. And I was very incensed at the way I was being treated, and I went into my prayer time and I said, God, why do I have to deal with this man and his big ego? And what came to me was, so you could get rid of your big ego. Because you see, that's what we do with each other. And whatever, it doesn't mean that we have to be victims or that we have to be doormats, but it also means that we can embrace all the opportunities that are there, even while we might even take drastic action, but we embrace the opportunities and not see ourselves ultimately as victims, but seeing these as opportunities to crunch up a little more ice and get a little bit more freedom. Because that guy was there to help me get free. He didn't know that. I don't know what he was thinking, but I know what I decided I was going to think. That didn't mean I didn't have to process and journal and be in my observer self. Today we're talking about the observer self. That's the topic, the observer self, observing the chunks of ice as they come up from beneath the surface of the iceberg. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like, oh, why am I in this mood? Where'd that come from? Well, it maybe came from 800 years ago when you were the chief of a tribe and the barbarians came down from the north and I don't know. It could come from things that you can't remember, but you are here to heal them. And other people with whom you've had interactions in the distant past as well, They're here to assist you in this, and that is what the purpose of life is. So how do you get involved with your observer self? How do you involve yourself with your observer self? Well, the way to do it is to begin the process of meditation. Meditate. Become aware of what's going on in a time every day where you can sit. Maybe you can create a meditation station, a place. I remember growing up, and my dad, I may have shared this story before, but my dad would sit in the middle of the couch. Nobody sat on the couch in the living room. Everybody had a chair, but nobody sat on the couch except my dad had this one time, and it was his meditation time, and he'd sit in the middle of the couch at 7:15 a.m. before he went to his hardware store, and he would sit with his daily word, and he would have his little affirmations that he'd gotten from Unity Village, and he would read his daily word, but he wouldn't just read it like this, like most of us do, gulping it down so that we can go out on the road and do it in about 30 seconds. No, he would sit and he would read a line, and then he'd close his eyes, and he'd take it within, and then he'd take another line, and then he'd close his eyes, and he'd take it within. And it would take him about 15 minutes to go through that and to do that. And it was a powerful, powerful experience for him to move. And he did this every morning during my entire childhood, all the way up until I moved out in college. What are you doing every day? What's your commitment to your observer self? Because you develop your observer self first in your meditation time and then taking that energy into your everyday life. But you've got to take a little, you say, I don't want to meditate. I can't meditate. I've shared about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the founder of the hospice movement, wrote the 5 Stages of Grief, and she was speaking to a group I was at, and she said that she didn't meditate. She said, I thought I did not meditate. She had a Swiss accent. I thought I had ants in my pants. But she said that some Tibetan Buddhist monks explained to her, no, you meditate every time when you're sitting there by the dying. You do meditate. And you also use your observer self. I'm not telling you something you don't already do. It's just that you're moving from being kind of a passive observer to being the active observer of self and turning it into a discipline, turning it into an awareness that you bring into your everyday life. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think? Thank you, God. I don't know. How do you connect? You connect with your observer self. And you say, I'm going to be in my observer self all day today. And then hopefully you have a time every day of meditating. And you say, I don't know how to meditate. Well, maybe you read your daily word every day. Instead of just reading it fast, like my dad, take that 15 minutes. Take 5 minutes. Go into the quiet. When I was a teenager, I was in the Youth of Unity, and they gave me an assignment. And the assignment was for our region to write meditation guide. And so I would try to write it, and it would be terrible. Even though I was 14 years old, I knew it was terrible. It just didn't have any heart to it. So I thought, what do I do? And I got quiet, and it was, well, if you want to write a meditation guide, maybe you'd like to meditate first. Oh! And I remembered back to when I was 12, and I was in a Sunday school class with Diana Maselli, my teacher, and I was her only student. And so she really tutored me, and she would lead me in meditation. She taught me to get quiet and to focus on my breathing and to focus on my heart beating and to become aware and to just be still. And then she'd ask me, what did you experience? And I would feel energy. I didn't know what a chakra was or a center or any of that stuff. I was 12, but I got to experience it. So I was 14, and I had to write these lessons. I thought, yes, I will go back and I'll do that like I did with Mrs. Maselli. But I went on my bicycle up to the park at the end of the street. And there was a stream, and there were beautiful bay laurel trees and eucalyptus trees. And oh, it was so lovely. And I found out only about 15 years ago that was a place that was a sacred place for the Ohlone tribe, and that was actually Native American sacred place. But I didn't know that. All I know is that I would be aware of the nature, and the energy was so strong. And I would take one of my dad's spiritual books, and I would read a line, and I'd sit, and then my mind would, and I wouldn't think about what I read, I would feel it. Do you hear what I'm saying? I would feel what I read. So that's kind of the thing. You get out of your cognitive mind, your thinking mind, your intellect, and you move into your intuitive mind, which is more like a feeling, not a lower emotion, but you kind of feel it. And I would read the line and feel it until my mind wandered. And guess what? Your mind's going to wander. Anybody that tells you otherwise is not doing you a service. It's normal, because meditation, the strength of your consciousness that happens in meditation, is because of something called the bring back muscle. You bring your attention back, and it's like lifting a weight. You notice with a weight, you have to bring it back and bring it back. And every time your mind wanders, you bring it back, and that generates an energy and a consciousness in you. So don't think you're doing something terrible. If your mind wanders, just bring it back. And then I would read the next line. That's what my dad would do. And then I'd wait, my mind would eventually wander, and I'd bring it back. And you do that. And the important thing is to start with 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. If you haven't, don't make it a big drudgery. But the important thing, Charles Fillmore said, was to do it every day consistently. He said, and these are his words, consistency is the key. Sporadic efforts count for little. So, he warned, do not save up your meditation time until Saturday and say, oh, I'll do an hour on Saturday, because A, it doesn't build consciousness, it's not consistent, and B, you're not going to do it anyway, you know that. So be in that consciousness that is a little every day. Just, it's incremental, it's a little bit every day. And don't judge it. Don't judge it. Don't say, oh, I didn't have a good meditation. Oh, my mind wandered. Your mind's going to wander. You'll find it'll start rolling out in your life. And then what you do is you take that consciousness of being aware into your everyday life, into your observer self. How do I put my observer self in my backpack and carry it around with me? Well, there's different ways you can do it. One is when you're driving around, instead of, like I drove up here, and it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And during that time, for most of the time, I had just very, very soft music, like very, very soft music. Now, some people, it'll put them to sleep, so don't do that if it would put you to sleep, because you don't want that. But just be quiet instead of turning on the rock and roll or whatever you do. Just be quiet and just be aware and ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? And just be aware and don't judge. Maybe you can set an alarm on your phone every 30 minutes. It goes off and you go, oh, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Oh, that's interesting. And you just bring your observer self and just become more and more aware of it. And then you could take it another step. It's called journaling. People say, I don't want to journal. That sounds like work. The beauty of the journaling process is that you can make it very simple. Just answer some simple questions. In the book, Spiritual Power Tools by Jane Hart, and she's the leader of our Center for Enlightenment down in Tarpon Springs. She's 90 years old this year. She was an executive at Unity for 10 years, worked at Unity headquarters. But she has 5 questions that you use for journaling. Very simple. And you can download this book for free at centerforenlightenment.com. It's free. It's called Spiritual Power Tools. But in the journaling chapter, there are 5 questions. Okay, first question, what am I feeling? Second, what is causing me to feel this way? What thought, belief, who's pushing my buttons, what's going on? Third, how is this a repeating pattern in my life? Oh, I remember. Yeah, I used to do it. This is something I do a lot. Okay. Fourth, what is my soul trying to tell me right now? What's my soul telling me? Oh, you find something will open up. You get a message. You might be very surprised what comes. And the fifth one is, if my soul were in charge, not my ego, how would I handle this differently? Oh, how would I handle it differently? Well, maybe in my own business. Maybe I would speak out. I don't know. And And that is an easy way of journaling, so you don't make it into a drudgery. Now, some people are natural journalers. I'm not. There's always somebody in the room, and I won't ask you to raise your hand because everybody's going to be jealous of you. So, but most people, it's something that's not real easy to do, and it's okay. Make it simple for yourself. Ask, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? What's going on? And you will find out wonderful messages. You may even find out something that was buried in your subconscious. Maybe an ice chunk will come up from your iceberg beneath the surface, and you'll go, wow, this kind of feels like I'm really scared. Now, why am I scared? I feel like somebody's coming in and trying to take over, and then, oh yeah, those are that's that other tribe up north, and they're coming to get us, and oh my gosh, and these feelings will come up, and you might get some very interesting insights. Or it might be very simple. I don't know. Everybody has their own experience. But the point is to be in your observer self. So I'm just going to review here. You are 1/10 conscious, you're 9/10 subconscious. Your iceberg is that subconscious. That's called your ego, your personality self. But the superconsciousness of you is that ocean of the superconscious mind, your higher self. And that superconsciousness of you is what you're melting that iceberg into. And that is where you're headed. And the desire of your heart to open up to this allness is the key. Charles Fillmore said that desire is the upward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. And you take that desire and make a commitment through using your observer self and put your will behind it and do it on a daily basis, and you will find yourself making incredible progress. But it will happen incrementally, little by little by little. One of the things that really is a tough thing for a lot of people on the spiritual path is impatience. Impatience. I read once, infinite patience produces immediate results. It's an ironic thing that patience, the more patient you are, the better things move along. And you find yourself growing and learning and changing. And so that's the observer self. Through meditation and then taking that into your everyday life and being aware, asking questions about how am I feeling right now, and then even moving into journaling. These are the ways that you exercise your observer self. And your observer self is that part of you that stands back from the play of your life. Your life is a movie. Your life is a play. And you become detached from it. Does Meryl Streep come back from her day at the set and say, oh my gosh, somebody's trying to kill me? No, that's what she did on the set. She's watching herself. You watch yourself as the actor in the play. And you just observe. You observe, and you have a sense of detachment. So we're supposed to do just a little meditation here. And so just become aware that you are your observer self. You are that aspect of being into which you're expanding and learning and growing, expanding and changing and being. And that observer self is that awakening part of you that awakens into that Christ consciousness. It's not just a label or a term, but it's a living experience. It's a living experience of consciousness within you. I am my observer self. I am my infinite self. I am that consciousness which stands back and watches. What am I feeling? And what is going on in me and around me that is causing those feelings? And how how is this a pattern that repeats in my life? What is my soul telling me and showing me right now? And if my soul was in charge and not my ego, how would I handle things differently? And then just take a moment with this and listen and ask these questions. I am a soul in evolution, and I am ready to turn within and uncover the truth of my being. The desire of my heart is the upward impulse of my soul. It is that opening, that aperture through which I expand and grow and move into my infinite self, my higher self, my observer self. This Christ consciousness, this awareness, is who I am. And I feel a sense of excitement and anticipation as I recommit and I use my will to back up my commitment to the heart desire. Thank you, God. So it is. Amen.
Thank you so much for a wonderful talk, and how there were so many things you told us that we can use on a daily basis. That was great. Thank you so much. So at this time, we embrace the principle of giving as a spiritual practice. You're invited to take your love offering in your hand, or imagine it if you've already given. And now we will bless our gifts, knowing that as we give, our blessings are multiplied. So please repeat together. Divine love expressed through me, with me, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now I think we have some kids here, some children coming in.
It's a little early for them.
A little early for
Yeah,
them?
we could do a song first.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
I don't know. We had one more planned. Anyway. Another James Stillett Freeman poem put to music. It's called Oneness. This one has a friend of mine who's a wonderful cello player from Colorado. She and her husband come here sometimes and play in Florida. They're in a duo called Acoustic Eidolon. Very lovely music they do. And another friend on the accordion. Oh, and George Tortorelli on the flute. He's local. Oh. Out on the Cape where sea and land are almost one, I like to stand. There friendlies become unfixed, sea and earth and I all intermix. Or sometimes I am swept along a crowded street, one with the throng, and losing consciousness of me, feel only my humanity. Or in the silence of a prayer, I find God's presence everywhere. My heart dissolves in God's one heart. Where does God end? Where do I start? Out on the Cape where sea and land are almost one, I like to stand. There boundaries become unfixed, sea and earth and I all intermix. Or sometimes I am swept along a crowded street, one with the throng, and losing consciousness of me, I feel only my humanity. Or in the silence of a prayer, I find God's presence everywhere. My heart dissolves in God's one heart. Where does God end? Where do I start? Thank you.
Okay, so now hopefully we will bring in the children.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, Miss Gwen, what did they learn?
Well, today we were talking more about Halloween, the metaphysical meaning, and we were talking about masks and costumes. Oh, I forgot to wear my mask. But we had a mask that we made that looks like a happy face. Sad face. But when you turn it upside down, it's a happy face. So hasn't your mother, didn't she ever say, you turn that frown upside down? So we found out that even though we wear masks and costumes on Halloween, we can't hide from God. He knows who we are, where we are, and what we are. And they said they were going to be cats for Halloween, so I'm sure that we'll be able to tell who they are unless they wear a mask, and then only God knows, right?
Thank you, Miss Gwen. All right, let us join together in blessing our children and the children of the world. So rub your hands together. All right. Children, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. and we see the Christ presence within you.
We love you, we love you, we really, really love you.
All right, in closing, let's form a circle, and we're going to sing the peace song, and then we'll speak the prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. Let every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The power of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
At war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or diving the ocean deep, whether it's winter or spring, whether I cry or sing, oh, my soul remembers. My soul